So here are all of my encouragements for you all to make terrible decisions, as I am the GM.
Ash has a crossbow bolt in her side, 0 dots in skirmish, and 0 dots in wreck. And I'm so excited to see this get even worse. So that's one vote for escalation.
Skelly has 3 guns and all the ammo.
Crossroads has no guns, but Crossroads is a gun powered by ghosts.
Have we established that your guns are special to you? I feel like we're establishing that your guns are special to you.
Before this crew, they were my only friends.
You've known us for 5 days. You've known those guns a lot longer.
These are my babies.
Yeah.
I just want to say, Rowan was starting to do this, and then he realizes to harvest. This doesn't help. Like, don't do that.
This is not.
No.
This is
Like,
not.
don't do
this.
this.
Yeah.
Doing this to an executioner?
Yeah, that's not what you
Just
want.
like this, like we call that the go sign, you know? Like, yeah.
Oh man.
This theme's great. I will do a fortune roll. Notes. No thoughts. Head empty. 1! I rolled a 1!
Yep. Now it can hear me. I have no idea why it couldn't hear me for a bit, but hello everyone, and welcome to yet another session of Speculate on this channel, the actual play show for science fiction and fantasy professionals. Yet again, playing Girl by Moonlight, Fractal Spire. Today's planning has been quite a doozy, but I'm very excited to be able to still do a thing with you tonight on Sunday, because all of my friends are waiting for us to do the thing, and I think that we're going to have a great deal of fun. Please let me know if you're still having any issues, because OBS is trying to confuse me at the moment. But we have some more dream shenanigans planned for you this evening, and I hope that you will stick around and enjoy it. Nice. You can hear me now. This is good. So, as a reminder, first and foremost, that there are multiple ways for you to support this channel, twitch.tv/arvanelron, and all of the cool things that we do when we are live, including checking out the VODs for this and other cool stuff that happens on this channel, which you can find at the YouTube channel, !arvtube, joining the Discord channel, where you can chat with all of the lovely people in this community and hang out with all of those cool people, and learn, get updates about whenever we're about to go live as well at !arvcord, !arvshop, for all of the cool merch for some of the things that take place on this channel, including Infinity and Beyond merch if you're interested in those kinds of stuff. !arv tweets for Gregory Wilson's Twitter, so you can constantly discover exactly how smart and thoughtful Greg is, including but not limited to, at this moment, receiving updates about Gen Con coming up very, very soon, which may be one of the few moments that you may actually see all of the Speculate triumvirate in one place. And that's coming up very, very soon. If you want more information about the Gen Con Writers Symposium, please check out Greg's Twitter to see more about that. !arvtreon will give you access to Greg's Patreon, through your support of which can allow some of the cool stuff that happens on this channel to continue to happen, including Speculate. I wouldn't be able to host this right now if it weren't for the kind support of all of you lovely people via the Patreon, so thank you so very much. And that means that when if you are so able, continuing to do so allows us to expand the scope of this channel at some point in the future, if that's a thing that you're interested in. And of course, !speculate for more information about the podcast Speculate and all of the cool things that we do on that podcast, including Girl by Moonlight, Fractal Spire, and all of the ways that you can support the content that we make there as well. I will point out, just as an aside, that you can get very cool behind-the-scenes Fractal Spire content, including a small fic segment that I wrote that will come out on Monday. So if you want to discover more about why Cloud Harbor is the most technologically advanced and also most socially awkward place in the world, definitely check out the Patreon, and your support allows us to not only continue to do these cool things, but do more cool things in future, including our upcoming series, Court of Blades, which is going to be a lot of fun. If you haven't heard that we're doing Court of Blades very soon, it's going to be really rad. I'm going to be playing this time instead of GMing, alongside Gregory A. Wilson, Primi Mohammed, and Marie Bilodeau, with our wonderful GM, Michael R. Underwood, who, if you have seen GM for us when we were doing our previous series, you know that that's going to be a lot of fun, so please definitely check that out when that happens. But without further ado, I think that I've done all of the housekeeping on this channel except for !BLM, a reminder that you can support the work that is happening on the ground to ensure that we continue to assert and affirm the value of Black lives in the United States and everywhere else in the world. This weekend in particular has been a particularly trying time in the United States for reasons that I'm not going to expound on here. But it is a very harrowing reminder, of course, that there is a lot of work that needs to be done in this world to ensure that the lives of Black people are seen for having the value that they do. And you can support the folks on the ground to do that work by following the resources in that link. !Help now. It is very important if you need help, and if those around you are struggling and also need help, to find the resources that allow you to make those situations better for yourselves and others. So if you need assistance or resources in order to better understand the situation that you or someone that you love is in, definitely check those out as well. !Ukraine. I believe that's it. I believe that's that command. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But if you want to do the work, help do the work to ensure that the Ukrainian population are getting through this particularly frustrating and very disturbing point in their history, definitely check that out. A reminder that one of those resources literally gives you the opportunity to give 100% of proceeds from the Old Soul to the communities underground who are helping keep Ukrainians safe in this circumstance. A reminder that Ukraine is not the only battleground in this world at this point in history, but doing the work that you can to alleviate the suffering of any of those people is the same as doing the work to end suffering anywhere in the world. So please be able to do the work that you can do in that regard, if possible. And yes, without further ado, while my brain is still like turning all of its gears very, very rapidly to process tonight's game, I should introduce you to all of my friends. So this is the point where I suddenly interrupt all of my friends who are obviously having this very thoughtful conversation that I just rudely interrupted because I'm a terrible, terrible friend and totally untrustworthy person in that regard. As I move over here, so you can see all of my strange friends. Hello, strange friends. We are about to play a thing, but before we play the thing, I would like to ask all of these lovely people to please introduce yourselves to the chat by letting everyone know who you are, what you do, and who you will be playing this evening, starting with Mike.
Surprise, Brandon is actually a great friend and we love them very much. I am Michael R. Underwood. I go by Mike basically everywhere. He, him pronouns for me. I am playing Vic Sains, the Guardian. Vic is they, them everywhere except work, where they are he, him, because dystopia is bad. And I want to shout out the Court of Blades game. Brandon, should I do that now or should we come around to it?
You can say a little bit now, but we will have much more to say later.
Sure thing. So, Speculate has announced our new series forthcoming in June. We are going to be playing Court of Blades by A Couple of Drakes is the name of the design team. It is a wonderful game of like power politics, romantic skullduggery, and fencing. It's like kind of like if you like The Princess Bride, add some political intrigue, and you know, beautiful. Our cast is Marie Bilodeau, Primi Mohammed, Brandon O'Brien, Gregory A. Wilson, and myself as the GM, or as the Drakes suggested in some sample material that we've been trading back and forth, the Dancing Master, which I may use. So that's that.
I love that very much. I think that that game is going to be really rad, so definitely check that out when that goes live. I'm very excited to play a game again. So yes, that will be a lot of fun. Next, Valerie.
Hello, friends. I am Valerie Valdes. I am she, her pronouns. I'm the author of Chilling Effect, Prime Deceptions, the forthcoming Fault Tolerance, all books that pair super well with Michael R. Underwood's books, which you should also buy. I am now the newly christened co-editor of Escape Pod, and I am playing Nina Lopez, the unlikely hero, pronouns she, her.
Nice. Thank you. Next, Yeoi.
Hello, hello, Yoi Gawain Lin, he, they pronouns for me. I am a game and fiction writer, and today I will be playing, as ever, Vermilion Jingwei Ruth, the outsider. A very angry person, who goes also by he, they pronouns.
A very angry person, okay. Not wrong, but still. And last but not least, Iori.
Kusano Iori, Clarion West class of 2017. They, them pronouns for me. I write, I play Yu-Gi-Oh! I make a lot of shit posts. And today I am playing Cat Holly, the time traveler. She, they, she, her for cat.
Nice. And as for me, I am your stage manager. I hate the term GM very much. Brandon O'Brien. Pronouns he, they. I am here to make the world suck. And that's the very first thing that we're going to do at this moment, because we have some obligation stuff to do very soon. But before we get into that, obviously, a recap of all of the action that has previously taken place. Where we last left off, our Dream Knights had just engaged in their first trip into the dreamscape in an attempt to rescue Nina from the weirdest work nightmare ever, only to discover that it may or may not have been orchestrated by individuals unknown, but a kind of conspiracy that is obviously very familiar to most of the Dream Knights, as they discovered that an acquaintance of Ruth's may have been conscripted by these unknown individuals with the deliberate goal of seemingly punishing people for stepping out of line, which led to not only a fight, but a seeming redemption on that person's part, which we may learn more about at some point, whether that actually holds true or not, but suffice it to say that they have also learned, perhaps, that there is some dastardly business afoot that they can now gain more information about at the future. But before that happens, of course, it is now a new day in Cloud Harbor. All of you have returned to your homes and tried to sleep, which is a very good first question from which to start, which is, after all of the action from last night, did any of you actually go to sleep or get any sleep? And I'll start with Vic. Did you go back to sleep when you got back home?
was like 4 a.m.
About, yes.
And was that a weeknight?
It was, yes.
Then yeah, I think Vic is of the some sleep is better than no sleep school, and just has redundant alarms.
Aha. I would like you to give me a 3-die fortune roll. Each die is a different alarm.
I love it. I'm just going to put the text in here so I can remember what we're rolling for.
Mm-hmm.
Will my alarms work? Roll. For maximum suspense, I should roll these one at a time, but I'm not going to. 2, 6, 3. So I think the first one fails, and then maybe I get one that works.
Right. Your first alarm. What time does your work day start, and what time do you typically get up in order to get ready for work?
Well, teenagers are most healthy if they get the chance to sleep later, and this is dystopia, so I think school starts at 8 a.m., which means that Vic probably needs to be there at between 7 and 7:30.
Ah, okay, cool. I love the way that you put that, because when I went to high school, I literally had to arrive to school at 7:30. So like, cool. This sounds terrible. So you get up to get ready for work around 6, I presume?
Yeah, I imagine that work is like a somewhat short transit ride away.
Yeah, thereabouts. Transit in Cloud Harbor is so perfect that there are bus stops that will literally tell you when the nearest bus or tram is arriving at that stop down to the second. So it's mostly efficient in that regard, but it still doesn't make it very easy for you to get to places because everyone's going everywhere all the time. So your 5:55 a.m. alarm sounds and you do not hear it. And then your 6 o'clock alarm sounds and you bolt upright out of bed. What is that alarm that it can get you to do that?
It is probably something not dissimilar to an air raid siren, and I think that the alarm that Vic had to change the alarm at some point in season 1 because that alarm sound got pulled into a dream, and like so the supernatural semiotics or whatever of it like broke, and so this is for astute longtime viewers of Fractal Spire, this is a different alarm.
Noted. Especially at this point, because I presume as a result you've gotten maybe an hour and a half of sleep, between actually falling asleep and now jolting out of bed. I would like you to give me a 1-die fortune roll.
That one is a 2.
A 2, right. You are in that like moment of like just between sleeping and waking, that like pure hazy mental fog of it's going to take me a little bit to actually like be awake. And when that happens, like as you are in that state, you are briefly like entranced by a thing. You feel like you are hearing something just beyond your apartment, like there is a melody somewhere that sounds vaguely familiar to you, and the moment you try to settle on what that thing might be, you have already lost it. And then you stir awake and decide, yeah, it's time for me to get ready to go to work. What is your procedure for getting ready for work?
I think Vic probably took a shower upon getting home. So wakes up, dresses quickly, eats basically toasts a Pop-Tart while like putting on like a 3-piece suit with a very bland vest, and then grabs it and does the adult anime protagonist thing of chewing deliberately on the Pop-Tart instead of running with the Pop-Tart or the toast in the mouth.
Nice, cool. And do you take public transit to work?
Yeah, I think probably like maybe like a light rail that goes 3 neighborhoods across.
So one of the side effects, obviously, of you taking public transit to work is there is a non-zero possibility that you are on the light rail with another student of Julius Ailston High. One of your homeroom students is sitting opposite you on the light rail. Would you like to describe them?
So I think this student is small and fairly slim, and is probably on his 3rd different subculture that he's trying out, trying to 1, find friends, and or 2, find something with regards to identity that feels even remotely appropriate, or like there's any kind of emotional connection to. And since we're in a world of like where there's a lot of fashion and ritual, I think that all of these moves are big, but this student is like 15 or 16, and so doesn't have the skills to do these things. So they have like a very sad, like fallen over hedgehog mohawk, and a black leather jacket that is too new and fits too well to be appropriately punk or goth.
Noted.
But maybe he'll grow into it. And this is like this I position because Vic does not express themselves at school, like in terms of like personality via fashion. But then here we have a student who has some of the latitude to do so, but is struggling.
Okay. So you know this kid actually. I mean, obviously he's in your homeroom. His name is David Nettleford. You know from experience with David in your class that David is very very creatively talented, but struggles on a personal level with like developing interpersonal relationships with other classmates. And a lot of this is a desire to fall into a clique, so like he will feel like he has a suitable amount of friends. There are people who obviously care about him in school, but like he doesn't feel like he's made it yet, and is constantly trying on new faces in the hopes of like having the kind of high school experience that you see on television, essentially. When you see him on the train, he's actually drawing. You can't really make it out from where you're sitting. I mean, if you wanted to, I would tell you that you can make a roll for it, but you vaguely get the impression that he's drawing something like big and bombastic in the way that teenagers draw things. And he hasn't really noticed you on the train yet. Which is like par for the course. You have seen him a couple times on the train as well, mostly zoning out until it's his stop. And yeah, both of y'all just ride the train silently all the way to Ailston High. Do you get out first, or do you wait for him to get out first so he doesn't see you?
I would wait.
Okay. So he gets out first. Like 5, 10, 15, 20 other people are also falling out of the doors at that same spot because like there are other shops and other buildings just a few blocks north of the school where they will just filter out and do their own business. When you come out, it is just about 7:08 or 7:09 a.m. Still enough time for you to get some work done before the first bell rings, but not so much time that you can get so much work done. The front courtyard is full of students. Everyone is presently on their own beat until that bell rings. What is the first thing that you do?
I think Vic skims some of the news feeds, which is like 2/3 official news feeds, 1/3 smaller, more local stuff that is just acceptable enough to be on Vic's browser history on a public device. And reviewing the latest curriculum changes that have been handed down from the state of like, oh, okay, you're gonna like replace this section with this section, sync your curriculum tablet to XYZ, and now you need to develop new coursework for these 3 sections.
You notice in those guidelines that, as per historically usual, there are entire branches of history and social studies that are just gone now. Like entire portions of lessons that have been either adapted to obviously scrub all of the weird and bad parts, or just totally missing.
The word union no longer appears in any of our history textbooks.
Yeah. So that's obviously fun first and foremost. You notice as well that there's a line that says for school etiquette and comportment that the new adaptations that have been made to those guidelines are effective immediately, but they were made at 5 a.m. this morning. One of them reads something to the effect of, while individual schools in this district are not obligated to insist upon a dress code or school uniform, some functional guidelines can still be put in place, both according to these overall guidelines and to individual superintendents or principals' discretion, in order to ensure a level of student cohesion and discipline on campus. And then there's just like a vague kind of word salad of things that they don't want kids to wear on school premises, even if they don't have uniform or dress code systems in place. Ailston does have a dress code, but in a lot of ways it was functionally very lax, because they pride themselves on a certain level of self-expression among students that is all not genuinely a level of self-expression, but genuinely a level of personal control over those children. But it has suddenly become a great deal more strict, and the first things that you notice as a result are it dictates how long male students' hair is supposed to be. And you notice that immediately, because by those guidelines alone, David should be expelled. When you look up from your phone, you notice that David is having a conversation with two teachers ahead of the front door.
So I'm going to try to help, and then how well we roll will determine how much Vic fails. Because this is a surveillance dystopia, Vic would have the text, like the phone numbers of all of the students. And
you are actually in a group chat with your entire homeroom.
Yeah, so Vic texts David, new regs, need to cut your hair. Like, can someone help you? And text that, and then walk toward David. Vic still has their bag with them. And in that bag, I'm happy to spend stress for a flashback. I want to argue there would be at least like hair scissors and a comb, because we've established that Vic comes from fashion people.
Oh yeah, I believe it. Take one stress for that.
Cool, happily.
Not even just on that angle, but I also genuinely believe that you perhaps always have to make similar concessions for yourself, because those regulations obviously also change for teachers as well on a regular basis. So you send that message. You see, David is typing, and then, suddenly nothing. You look ahead. One of those teachers has literally grabbed David's phone and has thrown it up in the air. They seem very animated as they're speaking to this kid.
Am I close enough to catch the phone as it falls?
You're close enough to try, but you need to roll for the thing.
Happily. I can do defy or flow.
I feel like you will get better results with flow. So your position is risky, and your effect is standard. I wouldn't say limited. I'd say you're in a good position in that regard. So that was...
Okay, that is a 3, alas.
Hey, you run up towards where the phone is gonna fall. You put your hands out, and it actually hits your hands, and then in the attempt to try to hold onto it, you instead push it upward out of your hands. It goes even higher than it went the first time, and then collides with the concrete pavement just outside the double doors. Splits completely in half. The phone is gone.
Alas, Clark Kent image retained.
One of those teachers, Mrs. Grady, turns to you very coldly and goes, "Did you just come off the same train as this kid?"
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know.
You didn't know that they were there, or you didn't know that the guidelines changed, and they're holding in their hand a newly printed soft cover bound copy of the new guidelines. It is like thicker than a Gideon's Bible.
Well, I didn't see the guidelines automatically populated to the students' message dashboard, so I wasn't sure whether that had been distributed to students or whether it was getting a soft rollout.
Well, guidelines are guidelines regardless. This is... Well, he's in your class, so he's your responsibility. Would you like to take care of this, then?
Oh, happily. Just leave it with me. I'll take care of it. Don't want to make extra paperwork for you.
Miss Grady just kind of huffs and walks away. David turns to you and goes, Mr. S, I don't know what... I don't get it. They just changed the rules on us again? And now I have to cut my hair?
Yeah, I didn't hear about it until this morning. But Vic like fishes out the scissors and comb and like tries to as stealthily as possible like put them in David's hand. We've got time before class.
But I shouldn't have to.
No, you shouldn't.
I just...
But hair grows back. And this will keep you out of a suspension that otherwise I would be required to give you.
Can you help me at least? As you can see, this was my thing, and this didn't turn out the way this was supposed to. Can you just... Please, I'm sorry to...
No, of course. And I'm going to take David to the place where I could do this that will have the intersection of privacy and not get anybody in trouble for like teacher-student interactions that are banned. Like some schools, teachers are not allowed to touch the students in any way, shape, or form.
Hey.
So like I'm giving the kid a haircut rather than getting suspended, but I would like to minimize the chance of then getting even more trouble.
There is a way that you can...
This is where I should roll.
Yes, there is a way that you can learn where the best place to do this would be. You will need to give me a roll to find that out. Everything else will just kind of happen after that point.
Would I just know because I work here?
So here is the thing that you do know. You do know that the best bathrooms on campus, hands down, are the staff bathrooms, of which there are 3. There's one in the staff lounge, but you may have to pass through some teachers, but it's sufficiently early enough that you mightn't have to. There's another staff bathroom on the first floor of the main building that is like past the auditorium, and there is another staff bathroom on the second floor that is like past the second floor office. The nearest one to you is obviously the lounge bathroom, because that's also nearest to the double doors. So you can see whether it is a good chance to just use that one, or whether the nearest student bathroom is also unoccupied.
Yeah, I think Vic is going to go for the lounge bathroom, and then we can let the obligation roll inform how much like bother there is along the way.
Okay, cool. So I would like you to give me
This will be 1d6 because I have at least one in everything, and stars and moon are both my lowest attributes. So I'm going to stick with stars, which is what I rolled last time.
Aha.
I rolled a 6.
This is actually potentially interesting. How much stress do you have?
I have 1 because I spent 1 stress on a flashback, and it's the start of an episode, so otherwise I would have 0.
Nice. Cool. That's very good. Cool. So, you walk through the staff lounge to get to that bathroom, and no one is there. You meet a janitor. The janitor's like, oh, another one? And suddenly moves from the patch of tile that they were presently sweeping near one of the windows to the door, almost as if to immediately communicate to you that they've become your lookout. You get into the bathroom and give this kid the best haircut that he may have ever gotten in his life. This is the neatest you've ever seen his hair in class. And he turns to you and goes, I'm really sorry about this, Mr. S. I wouldn't have asked you otherwise. It's just this kind of... But, thanks. I'll try to not let it happen again. I hope you don't get in trouble for this, too.
Me too. You didn't do anything wrong. It surprised everybody. just why don't you head along, and I'll see you in class.
Yeah, and he skips along. You
On the
glance
way
out. You glance out of that bathroom door just to make sure if any teachers see him on the way out. He gets out without a hitch.
On the way out of the lounge, I want to turn to the janitor, and I'm just going to make up a name if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Semi. How's the girl doing? She's still taking piano?
Oh yeah. Kind of getting better at it. We've moved away from the 2-finger songs to some songs that have 3.
There's actually there's a vid creator I follow who has some really fun tutorials. Remind me if I don't get those to you in the next day or so. Maybe there's something she'll enjoy.
Oh yeah, sure. And you should come over for dinner at some point as well. I mean the kids like seeing you whenever they get the chance.
All right. Only if you let me bring ice cream.
Only if it's not Neapolitan. The last time they ate all of it, and I got none.
No, I'll include some fancy grown-up flavors they won't like.
Okay. And they give you a fist bump on your way out. And you continue your workday, which still sucks, but every once in a while you see David like smile in your direction, and it reminds you sometimes when you do it for the kids, it doesn't suck as much as it would.
I am honestly surprised I did that well. I might just need to quit while I'm ahead for this session.
Oh yes. So we move from that moment to who do I get to do the weird thing with now? Nina. It is now sufficiently later in the afternoon at this point. Like 3:30, 4 p.m. How has work been so far for you?
So Nina, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that she had trouble getting back to sleep, and so Nina is underslept and entirely powered by caffeine right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so she is having a lot of trouble focusing. Her productivity today has been bad. She has already been told once that her hourly metrics are behind and she needs to get it together. Friends, she is not getting it together.
Yeah, things are not going well. Things have kind of plateaued at this point where nothing is improving for you or any of your colleagues today at work. But they haven't gone so badly that anyone's needed to reprimand you. Which is the most that you can hope for sometimes. And as that's happening, your cell phone rings.
I am not supposed to get calls during the day. I must have forgotten to put it on do not disturb mode, and if my boss hears this, she's gonna flip. So I quickly try to turn my phone off. Who is calling me though? Because she would probably also check and see who's calling.
It's an unknown number.
Okay. So she now assumes it's spam and feels no problem whatsoever, quickly flipping it to do not disturb mode. Oh god, is it already in do not disturb mode?
One of the very convenient things that you notice when you reach for your phone is that it was in do not disturb mode the whole time.
Oh, this should not be possible. Nina's really not enjoying this.
Oh yeah, this is very weird and confusing, obviously.
She shoves it into her bra. She's like, I need it to stop.
Okay. What are you looking at on your computer at this present moment?
Spreadsheets.
Okay. You get an email pop up on your taskbar on the computer.
Oh god.
It's from Rapido. The header line just has 4 exclamation marks on it. Do you open the email?
Oh God, no! I'm gonna get in so much trouble if I open this email. How do I? But that I will say, if I try to close the email, it's possible that she accidentally opens it by mistake, trying to close it. That's a thing I've done.
Should not be possible, but just theoretically, give me a 1 die fortune roll to see whether you close this email.
It's because what happens. I don't know if you have ever used Outlook, but usually when the pop-up comes up, it has the tiniest X ever.
Yeah.
So if you try to hit the X, instead it'll just click it and open the stupid email.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have to roll for it. Whatever you want to happen, Brandon, just go
I mean,
with it.
the email opens.
Oh, but the email opens. There you go.
The email just has 1 line of text, in all caps in bold. Answer your goddamn phone.
Sugar. She quickly does a quick bathroom clock out because she has to clock out to go to the bathroom. And so
as you do that, you notice, as you would have noticed on other periods at work, whenever you take a bathroom break that is not already coordinated before or after a lunch break, it starts a 5-minute timer on your
yeah,
PC.
for sure. She like gets up and power walks to the bathroom. And gets into a stall and calls back her boss, her other boss.
So you call back are you calling the unknown number that you just got, or are you calling?
No, I'm calling Rapido. I'm ignoring the unknown number because I have no idea what that is.
Okay, cool. So
bigger problems here.
So your supervisor, Rapido, goes, what happened? I had a guy call you just like a minute and a half ago, and did you get your new assignment yet?
I can't answer calls during these business hours. I'm in the bathroom. I don't understand what's going on.
Anyway, you have a shipment that you need to pick up from a location that we will send to you via text message, and you need to make that by 6 p.m.
Okay, I clock out at 5 here, so depending on where it is, I don't...
That's good for the place where you presently work, but when you stop working there, you work for me. So when I tell you need to be somewhere at 6, you know where you're supposed to be?
But where is it, though? Can I physically get... Okay, yes, sir.
Cool, fine. You're gonna get that text message in a moment. Don't be late. I don't know what are in those boxes, but I've been told they're particularly fragile and particularly time sensitive. And as you know, it's none of my business, so you know whose business it also isn't? Exactly. Cool. Later, hangs up.
Oh God. She hangs up, shoves the phone back into her bra, and runs back to her desk.
So you get another text message at just like a couple seconds after that for a location for pickup just like south of the Mirador, so you can like pick that up fairly easily.
Oh, good.
But the location for drop off is so far northwest that you're never going to make it in 45 minutes. So yeah, they kind of set you up, but you knew that when you signed up for this. After work, you go to pick up the package for unmarked wooden boxes that they load onto your truck. The person who helps you load them onto the truck kind of gives you this look of, I'm sorry that you're in this position, but doesn't tell you anything about the shipment. And as you make it to the drop-off location, I would like you to give me a roll to see how well you are on the road.
Oh no. Okay. What am I rolling? Just a 1 die fortune roll?
I think that there's an action for this.
Okay. I have... Let's see. I guess it would probably be one of the stars ones, right? Analyze, concealer, flow. Flow.
Flow definitely works.
I have no dots in flow.
Analyze also works specifically
I have
for
0
the...
dots in any of those things.
Oh god, this is hilarious. Right, cool.
Unless you want me to use forgive when I get there or confess, that's no. Not
I want you to give me right, so I know how this is going to work. I want you to give me a 2-die fortune roll, actually.
Oh god.
Yes.
Okay. Here we go. Oh no. This is I got a 1 and a 6.
Ah, the 6 is good, but it means that this is bad for other reasons.
Oh.
At this point, now, at minutes past 5 in the afternoon, you have not properly slept in like over 13 hours or more.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. She pulled a double like this yesterday, and that so got to sleep maybe at like midnight or 11. Let's be charitable and assume she got home at 11. Probably got to sleep at midnight, and then had horrifying dreamscape nightmares.
Mm-hmm.
And then woke up very early and did not get back to sleep.
Yeah. On the road, you feel yourself kind of idly beginning to drift. You know that this sucks. You know that you should be doing something about it. But you know that point at which you have consistently tried to fight off falling asleep, that the next time it hits you, you forget that you're also supposed to be doing something at this point. And your head drifts just for a second. And the very first thing that you see when your eyes close is Euphony in a hole. This beat lasts for a very long time in your brain. You are seeing that entire moment again, as if it is happening for you yet again. It feels and looks in this moment as if Euphony is trying to tell you something again. Something that they didn't tell you the last time. But you can't hear what they're saying. And then your eyes snap open. You are hearing horns honking all around you. You are still driving. There is nothing in front of you. You haven't hit anyone as far as you can see. And behind you, someone is honking very, very loudly.
Oh no. I look up. Am I at a stop sign? Am I at a stop light? Where am I?
No, y'all are moving on the highway.
Oh my god. I've just slowed down on the highway. This is amazing. Okay, cool. So she quickly gets her bearings and then starts to try to speed up.
The person behind you is still honking.
Oh my god. Am I missing a taillight? She tries to figure out if there's a place that she can pull over to check her vehicle.
Oh yeah, very easily. You can just...
Okay.
You pull over, and a pickup truck pulls over behind you. And two 20-something-year-old ladies come out of the pickup truck. One from the driver's side door, one from the passenger door right behind her. Walk up to you. What the hell are you doing? Are you high or something? What was that?
What happened? I don't understand.
They eagerly point to a scratch on the side of their vehicle that you know, just looking at it, you did not make.
What?
That was you. And you see them like giving each other very furtive glances as they're pointing this out to you, but you don't really know what that means at this moment because you're still kind of dazed from suddenly springing awake on the road.
How you were behind me? How could I have?
Yeah, because we needed to avoid you after you nearly run us off the highway. What was this? Like for very clear and obvious context, there is this red streak on the right side of their pickup truck. There is no red paint anywhere coming from your truck. Like, this can't be yours.
Yeah, it's like it's red.
I'm gonna call your supervisor right now.
But what?
And they both storm back into your car.
But I didn't. I didn't do anything. How did? What?
When they get back in the car, when you get back in the car, you can tell very vaguely that they seem to be snickering at this moment. And then you get a text message from your supervisor that says, "We are going to talk about how much this comes out of your pay later. Finish this shipment now. You only have 6 more minutes."
Nina starts driving. Just utterly flabbergasted.
Yeah. You get to a medical facility in further northwest of Cloud Harbor. Drop off the boxes kind of emotionlessly to men in lab coats who take it from you just as emotionlessly. And then you continue with the rest of the evening. Now, I would like you to give me your obligation roll.
Oh my god. Okay, here we go. I forgot how to label things in here. So this is my obligation roll. I got a 3.
That's a lot of stress. I'm sorry. You will have to take 3 stress.
That is frankly less stress than I would be taking in real life, so.
Fair enough. Meanwhile, as it gets later in the evening, Kat, it's now about 7 p.m. ish. You're just about to open Somnio, just getting things ready as usual. Who's at work today, other than you?
Ooh, who is with me? Do I remember my coworkers' names?
This is the point at which you get to establish any new coworkers that you would like. In fact, I'd imagine that there are a lot of people working a lot of shifts.
Well, wait, what day of the week is it?
It's Wednesday.
Oh, in that case, So, Kat is there. Siobhan is there, and she's not particularly happy about it because he needs to be up early the next morning. Let's see, who else? I think Beth is there too. And honestly, since it's a Wednesday, we're all going in expecting it to be slow. Wednesday tends to be the slowest day of the week.
It is neither a party day nor the day when people are trying to make up for all of the terrible work experiences that they've already had.
Emily is not there. Emily is regularly off on Wednesdays because that's the slow day, and she feels that she can leave that to Kat.
Cool. A couple of the hostesses are on their way that we will meet in a bit. You are setting up the bar and stuff like that, just making sure that everything is as ideal as possible for yet another day at work. While all of that is happening, I would like you very idly to give me a very peculiar fortune roll.
Oh dear.
Right. I would like you to give me a 1d6 roll.
Mm-hmm. Oof!
Ooh.
That's a 1, folks.
The nature of the number is not what's going to matter, because you're going to realize what rolling these dice are going to represent in a little bit. Now, in order for us to pick a random number between this amount, I would like you to roll 1d15 for me.
Okay.
13.
And that's a 13.
Cool. As you're setting up very idly, everyone else is either in the dressing room getting ready, or just like relaxing in the lounge behind the counter and stuff like that. You have most of the actual bar space to yourself. You're just like in this room, like neatening up some stuff. As you are like sweeping the table, you notice like a small piece of card kind of like fall on the table in front of you. You know that this is kind of sudden and weird, because where the hell would it fall from? But you also know that this is the kind of thing that happens to you in particular often, wherever you are. You have just received a card from the deck of reveries. That card...
Kat's actually going to pick that up, and this stupid dress doesn't have pockets, so she is going to put that down the side of her bra for now. She is not looking at it yet.
Noted. Okay.
But we have time before opening. So, Kat is going to go grab Sophie, who just got in and finished her makeup, and ask Sophie to finish up some of the mise en place at the bar so that Kat can grab a bathroom break before we have to unlock.
Okay.
And while Kat is in the bathroom, she is going to, make sure the door is well locked, and then pull the card out and get a good look. Because we don't want this to, accidentally awaken something in me while I'm out on the floor.
For obvious reasons, these cards are very volatile. The door well and truly locked. You stand in front of one of the mirrors and you take out the card. Black cardboard with gold inlays, and like gold embossing on the front of the card itself. The image on the card is a knight, helmet like kind of shorn right through the center right through the front diagonally, but still resting on their head, as they hold their sword similarly diagonally, menacingly in front of what seems to be a locked gate, as if to imply that there is some intruder right ahead of them that they are attempting to defend against. You know this card, even though there is no text on it, you know this card to be the Royal Guard, which is the Knight face card of the Gates suit of the Deck of Reveries. What does card mean?
I just opened the page for it in our Notion to find that out, and it was blank.
Yeah,
and
that's
now
why I'm
I
asking
realize
you.
that it's because it is my job to determine that. Oofa doofa. Okay. Give me a sec, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
The Royal Guard is one of those cards that Kat doesn't like to see come up because she struggles to explain it to people. Because it is a card about commitment. It is about knowing that the odds are against you, knowing that if you stick with this, you're not going to get a good outcome, but also knowing that, like, you gave your word and you are bound by that. So essentially, the shorthand of it is the promises you have made are coming back to bind you.
Aha. This card is significant to you in particular. For what reason? Especially since it refers to promises. What is this card attempting to remind you in this moment?
The last time Kat saw this card was after what happened to Euphony. And to Kat, what that meant was, in Euphony's absence, we have to carry on the things that she charged us with. Regardless of the fact that for certain of the group, including Kat, word given was given under duress. The conditions of the promise are not important. The promise itself is.
Mm-hmm. Does this card not also imply, as a result, that you know that this is going to end poorly for you?
Yep.
How does that make you feel in this moment?
Honestly, more annoyed than anything because, like, really? Right the fuck now?
At work, you have to remind me about this other work. Very cool. Just as you're processing that, there is a knock on the bathroom door.
I'll be out in a minute.
Okay. Does anything else stand out to you about this card before you leave the bathroom? Any other thoughts that occur to you?
What does the back look like?
The very strange thing about the Deck of Reveries when it comes to you as a result of a premonition is that the backs are also usually their own kind of oracular process. So when you look at the back of the card, you see two things very strangely. Suddenly the back of the card seems to have this kind of lenticular design that when you hold it against the light one way or another, it seems like you're getting two different images. But they're two images that don't pair very well in that sense, such that you know that you are looking at a thing that is not real in this moment.
Oh god, it's one of those magic eye bullshit. I would like to take a stress to put in a flashback.
Aha, okay. Might I ask about this flashback?
Yes. The flashback is Kat in season 1, after receiving a different card in much the same way, going into this very bathroom, opening the toilet tank, and putting on the inside of the lid a strip of blue tack. So now, in the present, because she doesn't want to risk this falling out of her bra mid-shift, Kat opens the toilet tank and uses the blue tack to secure the card safely out of harm's way where it won't fall in the water.
Okay.
And you can actually see that there is a second card in there that she forgot to remove last time this happened. And she just makes herself a little mental note. Yeah, I've got to get those later tonight.
Okay. So you're gonna put it away before you look at the back?
Yes, because Kat knows that she doesn't have, like, time to go put herself in some kind of goddamn oracular trance right now. She has a bar to run.
Duly noted. Okay. So you have 2 cards waiting for you right there. I will decide what that other card is later. And
The other card is from at least, I would say 2 weeks back, if not from season 1.
oh yeah, that's a season 1 card. So we will see that very soon. But yeah, you get out of the bathroom, get back to work. Today is already a particularly awkward day at work. Because one of the first customers that appear, just like almost as soon as you open, is a man in his 40s that you feel like you should recognize, but you don't very much recognize when he walks in. Like unnecessarily sharply dressed for a Wednesday. You get the impression that he's kind of showing off, in fact. And
honestly, Kat kind of appreciates it. Because if she is going to be made to do all this presentation-y bullshit, it is only fair that men are putting in the same effort. So when she sees a guy who is putting in the same effort, even if he's like, you know, a new type of guy, she will still appreciate that at least somebody else here is doing the work.
So this guy comes in, like gives this kind of very like weird, curious look at everything that is going on, as if he has no idea how this is supposed to work. And then like finds a booth seat somewhere near like one of the walls of Somnio and sits down. You have enough experience with customers to know that he looks like he expects something, but you don't know what it is he's expecting.
Since he didn't order from the book or anything, Kat will go over with the book, introduce herself, briefly run down, you know, the setup of the bar, and leave him to make his choice.
Do you deliberately explain to him that he's only requesting company with one person?
Yeah. It would be, you know, here is the book. You can look at the profiles and decide who you'd like to sit with you, and we will send a girl over. And of note is that, like, the book is a binder, and part of the opening duties before the doors open is that whoever is the manager on staff switches through the pages to make sure that it only reflects the people present. There's like a little divider. So there are pages for the girls who are off that day behind the divider in case someone would like to place a reservation for a later date.
Noted. So you give this guy a couple of moments. He later requests that he'd like to speak with Beth. Things are going very well and not at all problematic for a good bit. And then you notice from this person's direction that lots of people are talking. like very loudly from his direction.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I will have to go see what is going on here.
Right. So there is a young woman on staff who may have also recently just started. What is that young lady's performance name?
Fleur.
Uh-huh. Beth and Fleur are with this guy now.
Mm-hmm.
Being very courteous, but you can tell that Fleur is like, I don't know what's happening. This is kind of weird. Gives you this kind of look like, please get me out of this situation. This guy is talking very loudly and is spending lots of money. Like there are 4 stacks of cash on the counter. And he's like popping bottles of champagne that he's not drinking from, like just waving it. And it's obvious that he is not drunk, but he's very boisterous all of a sudden. And you're hearing him talk about work and all of the money that he has. He's not being inappropriate by any means, but he is being very grandstanding in this moment in a way that is not only actively making other patrons around him uncomfortable, but he seems to be deliberately trying to get the attention of other hostesses who are actively attempting to engage with them, which may be part of the reason why those other patrons are also annoyed.
Oh dear.
When you walk over to his booth, he's like very awkwardly gesturing to you as if also asking you to join him.
Oh
like,
no, Kat's
come,
not
please.
walking to his booth. Kat is going to the booth near him, making a circuit, checking in on those girls and their customers, and comping some drinks very quietly.
All of them have the exact same thing to tell you, which is this Dreamshine doofus is making a goddamn scene, trying to like lure every hostess here over to his booth. Can you just do something about that guy? Like, this is kind of ruining the experience, to be honest. I didn't come here to be shouted at by...
Kat is comping drinks, but she's also making note of who is saying these things because they are breaking etiquette by speaking about another customer.
Some of them obviously know that. The others, this is like their first or second time here, and this has never occurred to them that this is supposed to happen. But it's just like, they're all very obviously annoyed. Do you confront this guy at all?
Kat goes by the table to tap one of the extra girls on the shoulder and say, "Hey, we need you at the bar."
Okay. You tap Fleur, and Fleur comes over and goes, God, thank you for that. That was... Apparently he's spending money like he's never had any before on the Dreamshine board. Good for us, obviously, but he's very noisy. So yeah, I can actually take over here if you want. Like, if you really want me to.
You're fine, you're fine. You just looked like you needed a little bit of a break.
Kind of, but some of the other girls might need one as well. But yeah, I guess I'll just...
We'll tag through. So tables 3, 6. Their next whiskey is free. 3's having it rocks, 6 is having it straight. Oh, yeah, the guy at 6 likes something peaty. Get the scotch out of the back.
Okay, cool. Scribbles down some notes on her hand and goes to make some drinks. as the level of annoyance
Cat
starts...
very, very pointedly pulls out a couple more of the disposable oshibori when she sees Fleur writing on her hand, and like waves them at her and puts them down on the back of the bar counter, because
Alright.
she is going to need to clean up before she gets back on the floor.
Yeah, understood. So she disappears as the level of annoyance starts to fluctuate in the Somnio. I would like you to give me your obligation roll now. What attribute will you be rolling with?
Oh dear. It's going to have to be conceal.
Not the skill, the attribute, because you're making a resistance roll.
Yeah, I think I want to make that stars.
Aha.
This is going to be a charisma move. And also, she's under social pressure.
Okay.
So let's see.
Right, my brain immediately went hollow for a bit.
When we say lowest attribute, we mean lowest attribute in that category?
Your lowest attribute is the attribute that you have the least dots in. So out of Sun, Moon, and Stars, which do you have less skills in?
I would have to say that is Sun, because I have no dots in Sun.
Right. So that
but I'm
means...
not sure that rolling Sun makes sense for the context of this interaction.
Not perfectly, no. I would like to think that it
might be physically taxing just in the case of she is going to be doing an awful lot of running around in very high heels while she appeases everyone that this guy is pissing off.
I mean, this is obviously work, and at the moment, the only person who is actively interacting is you, because most of the other hostesses are presently being harassed by this guy. So yes, can you give me 2-die fortune roll, and we will take the lowest. A 2 and a 3.
2 and a 3.
So the lowest is 2. You take 4 stress.
Okay.
Yeah, cleaning up this guy's mess requires a great deal more activity than you thought you were immediately prepared for. But you eventually calm everyone down. This guy leaves without giving his name. Obviously making the weird cloying request that at some point he will be back. He has bought $4,000 in alcohol that he did not drink. And leaves like a very hearty tip for every individual girl that sat with him. So he spent like upwards of $13,000 here. Simply for the right to be annoying, it would seem.
Kat is going to take advantage of the fact that this is a socially acceptable thing for her to do as a hostess. And she is going to go around with those open bottles and just be offering free champagne on the house, but on this asshole after he has left, to everyone. Every single customer present, if they want it. has the ability to have some free champagne right now.
The minute this
And
guy
the girls
leaves,
are also drinking a bit.
the minute this guy leaves, everybody literally starts cheering when that happens. And as we slowly fade out of Somnio, we will head over to Monsieur Erose's. It is now maybe 9 o'clock. Monsieur is not supposed to be open this late. Every once in a while, it will stay open a little while because regular customers or next door neighbors or just very nice people are still here eating and drinking, and we will just close whenever they're done.
Wait.
And Ruth, while you are here, how has your workday been so far at this moment?
Well, Ruth did not sleep as much as he would have liked, so he was already in a very terrible mood coming to work. I would like to say that before he slept, he like stayed awake for about 45 minutes looking at his phone and then not looking at it, looking at his phone and then not looking at it, and then finally, after he was reaching about an hour and the phone didn't buzz, he texted Dice saying, "If you're dead, we're even," and then went to bed and then went to work. And then determinedly ignored every single thought of everything and anything that happened and just tried to get through the day.
Okay. So your day has been mostly alright up to this moment. Just very weird and awkward every once in a while during the day. Because you keep noticing from around like 1 o'clock up until this point, you have kept noticing that every once in a while, 2 or 3 people will walk past the shop, and you can see them pointing and saying something secretly to themselves about the shop, but you can't hear what they're saying because they're outside. And some of those people seem like mildly amused, giggling the entire time as they walk past, and some of them seem very annoyed or even angry as they like make rude gestures towards the shop and walk past. It is now 9 o'clock, and you notice a white van parked somewhere on the other side of the street. You can't really make out anything about it because the street light on that side of the street is not working. It looks like it has some text on it, but you can't make out what the text is. You see the sliding door of the van open. You see 2 men come out of it with what looks like very heavy equipment in their hands. You see them close the van, and then you see them like set up something very elaborate beside the van, and then step out to like just in view of the windows of Monsieur that you can see them, but still just out of the range of any actually working street light on this street. You can't make out what they're actively doing on that side of the road, only that it's 2 guys and something that looks bulky between them, and that it seems like they're looking at or pointing at or doing something in the direction of the shop.
Am I the only one on shift right now?
There was like a 20-something-year-old girl on shift who is presently on a bathroom break, and neither of the owners are here at the moment because they went out to buy some fresh produce before their favorite grocer closes. So right now it's literally just you and 2 patrons who are just like having like mango smoothies near the entrance door.
Okay, so what Ruth is concerned about right now, because he is the weary caretaker, he takes care of everyone, his immediate concern is that something might happen to the cafe and people might be in danger. Does he need to evacuate people or be ready to, heaven forbid, call the police, although that might result in things being even worse. So he's just kind of really, really braced. Has like the shop phone closer to the cache than usual. Is just kind of keeping track of all the exits, you know. Being prepared, basically.
I would like you to give me a roll.
Oh, what kind of a role?
They've been there so long, and you've, like, because you are now being alert, this is an opportunity for you to potentially learn something about what might actually be happening outside.
Oh. I guess... Could that be a perceive?
Perceive would work in this instance, yes.
Alright, then I shall roll a perceive.
Your position is desperate. And your effect is limited.
I don't like that. Why am I in a desperate position at my own job? Well, that makes sense. My effect is limited. I am rolling 1d6 because I have 1 dot in perceive. Oh, rolling 1d6. I don't know the commands anymore.
It's slash roll 1d6.
I think it's slash roll 1d6. Yeah. That's a 5.
Ooh, nice. The street light on the other side of the street momentarily flickers enough for you to notice that it looks like it's a TV news camera crew.
Oh.
You have no idea why a TV news camera crew is posted outside your window. And just as you notice that, a woman in a lilac pantsuit knocks on the glass door of Monsieur.
I know what you want me to do. I don't want to do it. Because Ruth is shy and he doesn't like being on camera for anything whatsoever. So he's very miserable. Oh. Is the other coworker back yet?
Nope.
Ah, hell. In that case...
This person is knocking more insistently now. One of the patrons is, like, looking at you like, are you not noticing the thing? They're, like...
Ruth holds up a finger and, like, wait. It's the polite finger. And goes to the back to knock on the bathroom door. Who's the coworker? Is it my bestie?
It is not.
Okay, not my bestie.
It's like a new girl named Shelly.
Okay.
Very nice, very personable. Seems just a little bit shy. But it's like very nice, very decent person.
Okay. So Ruth just knocks on the door.
Yeah.
And says, Shelly, I think someone wants to talk. I'm just going to handle that.
Okay.
If it becomes a disaster, just get everybody out.
What?
Thanks. And he goes.
You can hear Shelly's voice, like, trailing off as you continue going, what's happening out there? As you walk back to the front door.
And then he opens the door.
Without like missing a beat. As soon as like outside air has now entered through the door, this woman in this lilac pantsuit suddenly goes, "Hi, good evening. I'm Madeline Vargas with Channel 11 Atlin News. We wanted to know if we could get a sound bite about the social media hubbub that's been started about Monsieur. I figured that you or one of the owners would have something to say about the statements that have been made against your cafe. If you'd like to give us 5 minutes of your time right now, we'll get out of your hair as soon as possible."
Is that all she says?
Yeah. Like,
Ruth?
immediately after saying it, she has already turned to her camera crew and is, like, gesturing very silently to them. You notice that the camera is now immediately trained on you and is focusing in your direction.
Ruth keeps his face very, very blank and very, very emotionless because he knows how he looks, he knows how he comes across, he knows how he sounds. And, he says, "We're almost closing. Come back tomorrow." And then he closes the door and goes back inside.
This reporter is about to say something, but the door is already closed. She goes back to gesturing towards the camera crew. They seem far more animated now all of a sudden.
Great.
And then you notice they don't move for several minutes. They're still obviously recording the cafe. Those two patrons finish their smoothies, pay. One of them's like, "What happened out there? Are y'all okay? I didn't know that a thing happened." The other one is now avidly checking their phone for something.
Ruth, I guess if they're staying after and we're letting them stay after, they're regulars and thus familiar, and he doesn't need to be actively scary at them. So he grudgingly concedes in his mind that perhaps Vic is occasionally right and says, "Are either of you on the internet?"
Yeah, I'm checking social now.
Someone's
Oh!
talking.
Oh! Nah, it's nothing. And they put their phone away. Immediately put their arm around their best friend's arm. It's like, "We should go." And they start, like, rapidly power walking their friend's feet dragging right behind them out of the shop.
Well, if they want to leave, Ruth is not going to stop them because the cameras are on. Not that he would have stopped them anyway. So while they were just doing that, he just goes about closing because now they may as well be closing.
They immediately get stopped by the reporter right outside.
Ruth keeps an eye on that.
Give me another perceive roll.
Okay, perceive. Position and effect.
Your position has now been increased to risky, but your effect is still limited.
Rolling 1d6. That's a 1.
Ah, yeah. You hear reporter Madeline Vargas say something to these people, but you don't make out what it is. All you make out is that the patron that was on their phone when they left gasps very loudly and said, "I don't believe it," just before the door closes. But also before the door closes, you see someone put their whole arm in front of the door to stop it.
Unpleasant and rude.
You recognize that arm.
No. No. I'm leaving the chat, Brandon.
Dice, like, Dice has his, like, half of their face is, like, pressed up against the space between the door. Just like their eye open very wide at you to go, are you closed yet?
Ruth is frozen for 5 whole seconds because A of all, Dice should not be here. B of all, he has never looked this particular way in front of Dice before because Dice is not privy to this part of his life. Dice is only privy to the beating crap out of people for stress relief part of his life. And C of all, there are people who are watching everything happen and he hates this extremely much.
Which is why, before we continue with that specific moment, I would also like to ask you to give me your obligation roll right now.
Alright. So I have the same number of dots in moon as in stars. So let's say stars, because stars, your obligation puts you under social pressure or sets off your anxiety.
And that right
is pertinent. Yeah, whereas moon is your obligation breaks your heart and drives you to despair. Ruth is not in despair right now because he is freaking out.
Not yet.
Brandon.
Oh Lord.
Okay, so because I have the 1 dot in moon, I will be rolling obligation moon. Rolling 1d6. That's a 6. I'm sorry, obligation stars.
Nice. So you get no stress. That's nice. Cool.
I love having no stress. It means I have more space for rage.
You you obviously maintain your cool throughout this entire experience, which is made somewhat awkward by the fact that the very next thing that Dice says, their arms still sticking in through the door, still like looking at you very eagerly through the space between this ajar door, is that they lift their phone out of their pocket and press it against the pane glass window right next to the door and goes,
oh, God.
So I saw that you were on TV and I figured I wanted to be here before they closed. And on his phone is a live stream of Channel 11 Action News of the camera that is presently outside looking at you both. The Chiron at the bottom is influencer accuses Boba Chain of inappropriate conduct.
Ruth is really not happy about any of this, and he says, we are closing. We are not closed.
Ah, so we can still talk though.
You can talk, says Ruth, very, very, very politely with an actual customer service smile, which does not suit him whatsoever.
You seem very upset at this moment. Why is that? I mean, you have good reasons to be upset, but what's this reason?
Everything.
I mean, fair. Can I come in?
Ruth realizes that Dice waited to ask that. And then he hates that Dice waited to ask that. So he sighs and says, all right, sure.
Okay. You open the door for Dice and they enter. Um, they sit down and they go,
Over here. So we the camera pans and we see that Vic is seated in a booth that is concealed from the cameras. Oh, you're here. That's good. We have things to talk about.
Did Ruth know that Vic was there?
No, Vic
I
came-
didn't know Vic was there.
Vic came in from the back, having knocked and talked to the other employee, because Vic claimed that Ruth said that I would be coming by, and because of the hubbub in the front, clearly they should come in the back.
Yeah, Shelly is literally at the counter going, "This a friend of yours?" I mean, we let people through the back often, but I don't think we've met before. Anyway, they
Ruth
said they came to see you.
sets his jaw and goes, Vic, Shelly, Vic. You now know each other. Shelly, you can continue closing up.
Okay, cool. Very eagerly seems to totally miss that you are obviously upset at this moment. Dice is like, so the rest of the gang's gonna be here too, or I'm just gonna assume that you're one of the folks that I met last night.
Professional drag. You may understand.
I get it. Plus, the dream has its own rules, but you have the demeanor of the one with the sword.
So you did some good things last night?
No.
I did some good things last night.
There are a
I
lot
did some
worse
good
things that
last night.
that Dice could have done. And I want to start from that, because that means that we're starting at the floor instead of the basement.
We are starting in the sewers.
Dice?
We're in a boba shop. I don't get the metaphor we're going for in the moment. What's happening? Can I just talk to you folks, please?
We need to know as much as you can tell us about the people you talked to, the people who recruited you, what it's been like working with them. And then we're going to use that information to do everything that we can to help the people that they lied to you, saying that you were going to help.
That's why I'm here.
Excellent.
Ruth scoffs.
Dice turns to Ruth and goes, technically, I shouldn't be here, especially not if there are literal camera crews outside. But I told you I would explain everything, so I'm here to explain everything. Because you are in over your head, and I need you to know that. This isn't just another street fight. This is like fate of the universe shit.
Ruth looks at Vic with the most long-suffering expression on his face, because fate of the universe type shit is something that Deed would say, and Deed exhausts Ruth on a molecular level.
Oh Lord. Vic, did you let anyone else know that you are here?
I think Vic wanted to get the measure of Dice the helper, but has contingencies set. So if Vic doesn't get back to their phone to undo, like, basically scheduled messages are going out to Kat and Nina about where Vic went and what they were trying to do.
Okay, cool.
But I would love to see if we can pause here to talk about the crew upgrade that we have the points for, because we may need one of those things that
it's
we
about
get.
to come in handy.
Yeah.
Oh Lord. I didn't know that a thing might immediately become useful. So what
So-
might that career advance be then?
Iori, do you want to talk about the ones we were thinking about?
I would love to, but preview is still frozen from me attempting to add my stress to my character sheet, and now I can't load it.
Oh no.
Oh,
Okay.
Lord.
Valerie, do you have those on hand?
I have it on
To
hand.
Pull more people in.
Yes, so one of the abilities that we were thinking of as a crew upgrade was Curiouser. Each protagonist may add +1 action rating to forgive, express, or conceal.
Which would be particularly useful in interactions like this, I can imagine.
Yes, especially because we are all so remarkably squishy right now. Any extra dots in anything would be good, because in a lot of our actions, we are currently rolling the worst of 2, because we just don't have dots in things. Another one that we had considered was Moment of Crisis. When factoring your engagement roll, if you answer yes to "Does this mission determine the fate of a friend?", gain +2d instead of +1d. Gain +1d when you help a friend recover from emotional harm.
That would have been particularly useful in your last engagement in particular.
Yes.
So I can see why that would also be valuable here as well. Having that in one's tool belt whenever an engagement roll involves saving another dream knight from the dreamscape would be a particularly big deal.
So those were the main 2 that came up. But there are other abilities that also seem cool, but those were the ones that came up immediately for us.
Yeah, Lucid was also tempting. That's a Transcendent series ability, so we don't get to use it as much, but it gives a Transcendent action dot in Forgive, Express, and Conceal.
Which would also be very useful, especially the dreamscape.
Yeah.
So, as GM, it is my responsibility to let you all know that each of these would be immediately useful to you all. Because there will be some dream shenanigans that will take the shape of requiring to determine the fate of a friend at some point. I will let you know that you're not in a hurry for one of those immediately. But it is not my job to dictate how you spend that one advance. I think all of these are obviously very useful, and if you're going to talk to dice right now, I obviously see the value of using Curiouser as well, which is why I like giving you the opportunity to make the decision now, if that's a thing that you would like to settle on, or even if you want to hold off on it until a later point to figure out if there's something else that you would like.
So I think that it would be very useful for us to get Curiouser, just because at this point we spend more time in waking phase than we do in dreaming phase. So transcendent abilities probably do not have as much use potential at this stage of the narrative.
Plus, you still have a lot of investigations to do at this point. So, placing as much value as possible on your ability to perform those investigations would perhaps be a great deal more useful.
Yeah, I like Curiouser as well.
Cool.
So let us take Curiouser then, I believe.
Okay.
Yes.
I will add it to our series sheet on the Notion.
Okay. Where is everyone assigning their action rating? I'm putting mine in Express, because now I will finally have a dot in something in my sun category.
For Ruth, I'm going to put theirs in Conceal for a total of 2 dots. Because I like to think that Ruth is as good as hiding things as they are at confronting things, so now they balance out the Defy with Conceal, so that works out nicely.
You also don't need to tell me that right away at this moment. we can learn that through play later on. But I would also like to know how everybody else is putting their points as well.
I'm going to put mine in Forgive, which gives me 2 in Moon.
Cool, nice. And Nina, what about you?
As much as I would like to pretend I can put something into stars, I think that Nina can still not analyze, conceal, or flow. And so I think it's going to have to be somewhere else. And so I feel like probably either express or perceive are going to be the options at this point. I'm still kind of going back and forth between them.
So it has to be forgive, express, or conceal.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that is literally what it is. So yeah, I feel like then of those, it might be express. But even then, I feel like it's just she's starting to express things a little more than before. I have to think about this. I have to think about it because if I put another dot in forgive, I'll have 2, which is delightful. But
yeah, you can make a note about that, and we can decide at a later date. So long as you know that that's yours, and at some point you will have to let me know where that is, so you don't miss out on that point. But as we are still as we are engaging with dice, I will ask actually if we can take a very small break before we get into the nitty-gritty of that interaction, so everyone can do what everybody needs to do to take care of themselves. A reminder to everyone else in the chat as well that a break for us on screen is a break for you at your computer as well. So take this moment to stretch, get something to eat or drink, do the things that your body needs you to do in order for you to be healthy. And we will be back in about 10 minutes with more of Girl by Moonlight Fractal Spire. Take care, everyone. And we are back with more of tonight's Speculate special event, Girl by Moonlight, Fractal Spire. When we last left off, our Dream Knights had just had another terrible day at work when Ruth had his terrible day at work randomly preempted by an apparent spy, a guy that he beat up in a fight that one time. Our last mission participant, Dice Calandrine, has just appeared at Monsieur Rose's with the responsibility to follow up on some weirdness that happened the last time they met in the dream. And Vic has also appeared in an attempt to continue that investigation. So, with you all in the cafe at the moment, the last question that I asked Vic was if you had let anybody else know that the thing was happening, to which you replied that they may get a notification at some point later, but presently do not know.
Yeah, I think Vic's plan was to get a quick measure of how responsive and helpful Dice was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And deal with the problem if Dice was going to be a problem, and if not, figure out how to loop everyone else in.
Okay, cool. So at the moment then, it's just Vic and Ruth and Dice. And Shelly, who is about not listening, just making sure that they put away cash from the register and finish cleaning up and stuff like that. And you have your own key to leave whenever you're ready to leave, obviously. So y'all are mostly uninterrupted at this moment. Ruth?
Yeah?
I would like you to give me the investigation roll for this opportunity to talk to Dice.
Ruth does not want to investigate anything. Ruth wants Dice to go away.
What would the action roll be to taunt somebody such that their response is to exposit?
Wow.
Well, you see, Dice likes to annoy Ruth, right? So if Ruth is just angry at him, Dice will start talking. So can I roll Defy for this?
Yeah, Defy was literally the thing that I was going to tell you would work in this moment, specifically in this weird relationship that you have with Dice.
I do not have a relationship with Dice in any way whatsoever.
I mean,
says Ruth furiously.
Of course you would say that. That doesn't make it true, but I would like you to give me a Defy roll. A Defy fortune roll.
A Defy fortune roll. So that is 2d6. Roll 2d6. That's a 1 and a 6.
Wow. Okay, cool. So what is the thing that you tell Dice immediately after they're like, I am here to tell you anything that you want to know? What is Ruth's immediate emotional response to that?
Ruth's immediate response is to look at him and say, tell me how I make you go away.
I love this so much. I'm so sorry.
No.
So first of all, there is a clock on investigation that happens in this moment that is already full, so you didn't have to think about this anymore.
Okay.
What happens in this moment is Dice looks at you And you know dice fairly well enough that you have, even though most other people who have met Dice Calandrine, and specifically the circumstances that you have, will only know when they're very excited or when they're very angry, or what they look like when they're in pain, like 1 time out of 10. You are one of the few other people who like have witnessed the range of Dice's emotional capacity.
I regret that.
Which is a thing that you regret, yes. So you know what it looks like when Dice wants to impress someone. When Dice is like struggling with the sense of, I want this person to like not lose their appreciation for me.
I don't appreciate you.
Which is why you know that face so well. So Dice is looking at you very earnestly when they go, you have to believe me when I say I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I was helping people.
That's rich coming from you.
Right, I know, okay, I'm not... I am not a good person, but I was hoping to change that.
Ruth steps back from him.
I really thought I was making people's lives better. I thought I was helping them learn things about themselves that would help them grow, help them realize their potential, because I thought that that was what they were helping me do. I thought I was revealing to people the kind of people that they could be. I didn't think I was... I don't know what it was I was doing, in fact, but I didn't think I was doing whatever that would have been. I didn't even know who your friend was when I got that assignment. I never even learned their name when they let me into that dreamscape. They just told me I needed to do a thing. That it was my responsibility to get into that dream and help them unlock themselves.
So let me get this straight. Your bosses got you, of all the people in this city, to help other people become better? Why did they pick you again?
Because they did the same for me. Or I thought they did.
Ruth starts laughing.
And
it is not a good sound. It is not a happy sound.
Oh yeah, this is the most sarcastic, the most like painfully sarcastic laugh. You notice that Dice seems obviously hurt. Was that the goal?
Ruth doesn't care one way or another how Dice feels, which is probably why Ruth is actually the best placed person to hurt him. But
Ruth.
Vic hasn't seen this side of Ruth before, like someone who is actively bitter about something.
Yeah, so like first Vic responds like non-verbally to this kind of this kind of seeming cruelty, and it says, Ruth, come on, they're here to help.
Give me a 1 die 14, right? Give me a 1 die 14 roll, Ruth.
1 die fortune roll. Roll 1d6. That's a 6.
Ah, okay, cool.
Oh god.
there's this brief moment when you hear Vic speak that you get this, like, impression. Like, you ever had this feeling that you are, like, you know the only person in control of your body is you, but you feel like you have just briefly lost control of your body?
Ruth has transcended before, yes.
You have this brief, like, almost, like, infinitesimal moment of, I should stop laughing. Why am I still laughing? It only lasts like a beat. And then you stop, and you sigh, and you continue.
Ruth has the distinct sensation of Ruthless in the back of their head, just kind of putting the metaphorical hand on their shoulder.
Yeah. For a moment, it felt like you weren't laughing. Ruthless was. But then you stopped.
He looks back at Dice and bares his teeth, and without looking away from Dice, nods at Vic and says, "You're lucky they're here."
So Dice, something that may help us here is if you can talk through where you met anybody, anything you got about names, what they look like. We need to be able to trace from that dream last night to somebody else who's involved, somebody who roped you in or somebody you interacted with. Maybe you met them in waking, maybe you just met them in dreaming. But I want to pull on that thread.
I don't think this is someone that I know in real life. I mean,
the dreams are real, right?
Right, I know, right, yeah, but like, I'm in the dream, I can be whoever I think I am.
Yeah, you can be yourself. Yeah, I get it. It's tricky.
Right, so I don't know if I've ever seen the person who first recruited me, I guess, because I'm pretty sure that was a recruitment that first time, that first dream. This may have been like 5 months to last night. In fact, they just put the fear of God in me, essentially. I went to sleep one night and I saw things I didn't want to see, and Dice very slowly glances up at Ruth and then glances back down at the table in front of them and then glances back at Vic. And that was one thing, right, that got me to reframe some things, got me to, like, fall in line, and I get that that was the goal. And then I got a message on my phone saying that they liked how I was put together in that dream, and I was like, I don't know what this means. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that information, but it freaked me out, you know? How can someone know what you did in a thing that I thought wasn't real? And then I learned that it was. And they would ask me every once in a while to make sure that someone else got what I got. Told me that if I kept doing it, those people would be the best versions of themselves. And I thought that that was what I was seeing. I was seeing, like, punks become like disciplined. I was seeing people who didn't know what they wanted to do in life suddenly activate, you know? Like there was a kid, I don't know, some high school kid, goes to Alistair all something high. I don't know. Didn't like went to that guy's dream and this kid was a mess. Spent a half an hour doing what I thought I was supposed to do, and now I'm hearing the kids, an A student wants to get like an internship with one of those big tech firms. I thought that was cool, right? I thought that I was straightening the kid out. And now I'm like, what if I wasn't?
What was the kid's name?
I don't know. I don't know names. They just tell me which part of the dreamscape to enter. I heard.
Can you tell me about the kid's dreamscape? Some details, or maybe anchors that would help us navigate there. And this is where I'm going to pitch that I'm using a downtime action to also investigate. And I'm using Express, which I didn't even know going in. One of the sentences on Express is, you might convince a longtime rival to work with you for a time to solve a shared problem. So the pitch here is that Vic is figuring out the Ruth dice dynamic and trying to bring enough Ruth into the conversation to get dice to kind of talk through or kind of be able to get past some boundaries to be able to share more information.
Not that I don't think Ruth can qualify as actively assisting in that role, but I'm betting that Dice probably looks at Ruth to see how Ruth is reacting to all of this, and Ruth is definitely, like, the moment he said the name of the high school, or tried to guess what the name of the school was, Ruth was definitely paying attention really, really strongly to Vic in a uh-oh kind of way. Like, just very intent and laser focused.
So, Dice literally closes their eyes and starts, like, processing it for a little bit, as you give me that roll.
I'm rolling 2d6 Express as a downtime action for investigation. Let's see. 1 and a 2, so I get 2 ticks.
Yes, you get 2 ticks. They kind of, like, Dice kind of struggles a bit. God, this was a while. I just remember it was a mess. Lots of, lots of torn pages all about the place. Like, I think there was some dead flower petals as well. I think one of the rooms in that dream, I saw them get in a fight with their parents about something, but I didn't make out what it was. I just remember when I got there, I was like, the angle that I used was that people will learn to love you more when you learn to do the things that let them know that you love yourself. When you do your schoolwork, if you found yourself a disciplined hobby, I don't know. I'm trying to ask myself if I was being too stern back there now. I can't even remember what I said. But I mean, I could be, like, the dreamscape's big, right? When they give you the tools to enter, they give you the tools to walk through as many dreams as possible. I may even be missing something that was much more useful in the moment if that would have helped you do the thing. Like, they're not involved in the day to day anyway. I'm here to give you. I'm here to try to help you find out how to how to get in on the inside, how to deal with folks who do what I do. I guess I don't know.
So, Brandon, because I rolled Express, I want to pitch that Dice is talking and Vic is basically giving draws a basic sketch of the student that Vic thinks is most likely for this to be, and spins it around and shows it to Dice to see if they recognize that face.
Mm-hmm. So this will
which gives you the opening to let us ID a suspect.
Aha. So I will confirm that this is not a suspect, but this will give you information that will lead you towards a suspect.
Okay, cool.
So this is a student at Julius Ailston High, not one of yours, so you don't know this kid. Well, you don't know this kid well. You're drawing on things that you've picked up, but because this kid is not in your homeroom, is actually a year younger than your class, you don't know this student very well. Trevor Hall. He, they, but mostly he in school for reasons that you're also very aware of. You've met the kid once or twice in some creative capacities in school, which is why you know their face. Dice is like, yeah, this kid's dream visage didn't change a lot, so I can tell you for a fact, yeah, it's this kid. Got this acknowledgement, got this assignment from one of my higher ups. I don't know how they get into those things. I'm sure they have all kinds of other resources that allow them to get a sense of individuals' dreams and how to get in there and why this person should be a target. But they send us enforcers in because they need somebody to actually do the heavy lifting, if that makes sense. So yeah, somebody else is responsible for knowing why this kid was supposed to be important. And I get the impression that we're picking specific people for specific reasons, right? But I don't know what they might be. Only that part of it is helping them fall in line. And now I'm like... And they turn to Ruth again with that same kind of pleading expression. Like, I thought I was helping people. I didn't lie, right? I didn't... Like, they're still being better, right?
Ruth looks at him and says, "Unfortunately for the both of us, you haven't ever lied."
I know some bits about the process, but everything I've done, I've gotten through text or in the dreamscape itself. I've never met anyone there. So I guess if you need to know anything else about the dreamscape or the things that I've already picked up doing these kinds of jobs, we can do that too. And I can tell you some other part of, you know, the inner workings, but I don't know names, just what they're capable of.
Yeah, it sounds like...
Ruth looks at Vic to ask further questions because Vic has known Euphony the longest and therefore knows the things that they need to learn the best.
Yeah. I'm fine to kind of elide the rest of that conversation in order to kind of move forward. But we know that the conversation is longer than what's been on quote unquote screen, if that's okay.
So what I will say as a result is we can flash back to this moment at any point in time, either mechanically or even just narratively, to gain any further information that would help qualify a thing that will happen later, which means that we get into the juicy part as well.
I guess to like towards the tail end of that conversation, because I imagine that the more it gets into like the finicky, oh, here are the specific spots that Dice was told to go to, or here are the specific like signs he was supposed to make, or here are the specific talismans he was supposed to pick up, or something of the sort. Ruth leaves that to Vic because he does have like his actual quote unquote day job to still tend to. So he helps Shelly close up. He basically keeps an eye on the crew outside, that kind of thing, wipes down the tables, stuff like that. Just does the basics of getting that fixed.
Right. So, y'all are hanging up for the day. Shelly prepares like a small smoothie for Dice as Dice and Vic continue talking. The crew has now left. It's become late enough in the evening, around 9:30, 10. Well, yeah, like around 10:30. That the street is typically quiet around this time because this is not one of the busier parts of the food district up here. It's quite late at this point. Shelly is just about to finally say goodnight and leave because she knows that you have a key to leave when you're ready as well, and that the owners will come in when they're done shopping. At this point, they must have like gotten ice cream or something and are taking their cool time back to the shop. So at this point, it is just the three of you in the shop. When suddenly you hear a large pane of glass break. Vic, you're the first to notice that something just went through one of the plate glass windows right behind the table where you're both sitting.
Is there enough room in the table for Vic to be able to like help usher people under the cover of the table?
If you tried to tip over the table, you'd need Dice to move first. Because, like, you're facing Dice. The thing just came in behind them. They haven't really responded yet with, like, much more than a kind of abject confusion. So you kind of need to finagle the situation before you can actually move the table downward as a protective device in the first place. Do you want to give me a roll for that?
Yeah. I think this is probably Defy.
Cool, that works. Your position is desperate and your effect is limited.
Okay, so Vic says cover and is basically trying to pull Dice at the same time as they are kicking the table over to form cover. All right, so desperate. That was desperate limited?
Yeah, desperate limited.
Desperate limited to Defy. And I'm rolling 1 die, which is better than 0 dice. That's a 1.
Oh no.
Oh wait, do I get a bonus if I'm protecting someone? Is that? Let me double check my character sheet.
Do you have an ability that allows you to do that?
You do have a feat for that, yeah. But did you take it?
I get a bonus when I resist protecting while protecting someone, not for an action roll.
Aha.
Yes. So still a 1 to 3.
Cool. So you try to maneuver the table, and Dice not getting any impression of what is really happening, still responding in a kind of shock and confusion, gets in the way of that process such that you do get the table to fall over, but it's facing away from where you're trying to actually defend from. Dice eventually does get up, shift away from where you are. You notice very suddenly, and it does cause you a very brief bit of confusion as well. Colored smoke is emerging from whatever was thrown through the window. It seems almost iridescent. It seems to be shimmering. Like it's rapidly shifting color in like various gradients all along as it begins to expand in the room. You have no idea what the smoke is or does, and just as you notice that, you notice two individuals in two individuals in tuxedos with masks over their face front flip through the hole in the window.
Can I say Ruth intercepts them?
Okay, how would you like to do that? Give me a roll for the thing.
Well, I think this is very clearly going to be Defy.
Okay, your position is desperate and your effect is standard because you've been in a fight before and this is just you fighting two strangers.
Oh god. Yeah, I would say that Ruth was probably stacking chairs on top of tables or something, so he throws a chair at one and like while he's barreling at the other one. And Ruth is not the largest person, but Ruth is a very, very fast and angry person. So I am also going to take Reckless. When you make a desperate roll, you may choose to get plus 1d for the roll if you also take minus 1d to any resistance rolls against consequences from your action. So...
Okay, that's gonna be useful in a moment. Cool. So you're making your defy roll plus 1 die.
Yeah, desperate, standard, rolling, that's 3d6.
Please crit, please crit, please crit.
You've jinxed it, man. That's a 5, a 2, and a 3, so no crit, but...
Okay.
I got a 5, which is pretty good against 2 people, I think.
Yeah, 5 is pretty good against 2 people. You immediately engage both of these individuals by yourself. You're the only person actually physically engaged with them. And it's actually going remarkably well. You are... Like, you can tell that these individuals are very skilled. But you're just angry enough and motivated enough that you seem to be able to hold your own, even though you are not obviously fighting with the same level of tactical awareness that they are. You can tell they're trying to incapacitate you. Meanwhile, you're just like, I am here to draw as much blood as possible, and I'm doing very well in that regard.
I am here to make your life a misery. God sent me to make shit worse, and I'm gonna do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say that as Ruth went in, Ruth yelled to Vic, "Get them out of here."
Dice is very confused. Vic, one of the very first things that you notice as you like try to get Dice's attention in an attempt to get ready to leave is it seemed in this moment like Dice is obviously very afraid. Ruth, you notice it's just kind of in your periphery, and while you have seen it kind of fare out of dice before, you have no idea why it would materialize in this moment, because like dice has fought people bigger and more talented than these people before. But regardless, Vic, you have been given the request to get dice out of this space. What do you do?
I will be doing so. I'm kind of paying attention because I want to be in position to try to protect Ruth against whatever the consequence from that mixed result is. And I think after having done so is Vic leaving, depending on what the consequences are.
Okay.
Because I also have an idea about like soccer kicking that smoke grenade into one of the attackers.
Give me a 1 die fortune roll.
Okay.
Technically, this is defy, but still. How many dots do you have in defy actually?
1 in defy.
Right. Yes. Still cool.
That's a 5.
Yes. You kind of effortlessly back kick the smoke grenade directly into one of their eyes.
It's not their first protest, friends.
Yeah, I was trying to decide whether I would kick it at them or use improvised stuff from the cafe to do the thing that the Hong Kong protesters do.
Large cup of water,
throw
dump
the
it
thing
on
on, dump the water. Yeah.
Vic, you make it through the back door all the way outside. Nina, you are now coming back from your delivery trip. You are still very tired. You are still very
Nina has
still
just
very
pulled up
upset
to the
about
back.
the very awkward experience you've just had.
And Nina knows that Dice is there because Nina got a text from Vic. And that is why Nina's here. And so she spent this entire drive feeling like there are ants under her skin from lack of sleep, and also the notion that she's going to have to face this dude. And everything sucks. And she's tired. And is that purple smoke? Why is there purple smoke? Is it glitter smoke? This is like one of those foam parties, but smoke? I don't Oh God, am I hallucinating again? Oh no.
Vic, you see the truck.
She parks.
Thank God. All right, Dice, that's our ride. Sorry, is the other employee still here, or did she already leave?
Shelly left a long time ago.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Vic says, that's our ride. Be as non-threatening as possible.
I can be non-threatening. Puts on a very awkward smile.
And like Vic will kind of grab Dice's collar. That's Nina.
Oh.
To be clear, Nina looks like Nina. She just looks like her dream self.
Mm-hmm.
But with,
I guess I don't. Yeah. If we've seen Nina through like the windshield, then Vic doesn't have to necessarily explain as much.
I would think so. Yeah, and again, like just in terms of dream selves, Nina looks she looks like a slightly better groomed, better dressed version of herself. That's it.
Mm-hmm. So you all get into the truck. Meanwhile, Ruth, you are still fighting these two people. You are obviously feeling just a little bit overwhelmed, but anger and self-motivation is still getting you through. Give me a fortune roll with defy.
Okay. Fortune roll, defy. So that is 2 dice. Roll 2d6. That's a 6 and a 4.
Cool. You are holding your own for a bit. You are noticing in this fight very idly that the guy who got hit in the head with the smoke grenade, his mask seems to be changing shape and color constantly now all of a sudden. It used to be just a plain white um, ceramic mask, no ornamentation whatsoever, just two eyes and a mouth, and then it changes into a Tengu mask, then it changes into a large masquerade mask, like just constantly shifting from thing to thing that entire time. You get the impression like that like a couple of inches of hair are also randomly changing length and color. That entire time, you have no idea what that is about. But it doesn't seem to bother the person that, like, even though you can tell, like, smoke is literally in this person's eyes, doesn't seem to bother their capacity to continue engaging with you at all.
In the moment, Ruth thinks, Ruthless, what the fuck?
There is a part of you, there is a part of your consciousness that even in this high stress active situation, you know is a compartment of your awareness where if you wanted to confront Ruthless directly, you could literally do that. And you feel very briefly like you are in that space, that Ruthless is not there to answer your question. So you stop thinking about it very briefly to continue fighting. Give me a resistance roll.
With?
What is the attribute that would most accurately describe being in a physical interaction? I believe it's
that
sun.
That would be sun. Yeah.
I would like you to resist with sun.
Well, luckily for me, I have 2 dice there, so I can still roll my measly little 1 dice. Resistance roll, sun, and it's -1, so I'm rolling 1d6. That's a 4.
Okay, so you take 2 stress.
Yep.
How much stress do you have at the moment?
Just 2.
Okay, cool. Right, yeah, you had a guard
I
roll
had
just
a
earlier.
surprisingly fine time at work because my soul just knew something bad was going to happen, so it didn't stress out too much.
Suddenly, these 2 soldiers begin to actually overpower you. They are moving in tandem in a way that you can no longer accurately respond. Like, they are very briefly not only pushing you back, but it seems like they're actively capable of bringing you to your knees if they just work a little bit harder. You get...
Uh-oh. Yes, continue.
You get a solid heel to the jaw.
Ow.
And you feel your consciousness kind of fade away very briefly. You've been in enough fights that you can regain your awareness quickly enough from that kind of blow. But by the time you ready yourself to get back into the fight, they're gone. The smoke bomb is gone. All there is that proves that an altercation took place here in the first place is the table on the floor and the hole in the window.
Ruth takes a breath and just leans against the pane of glass beside the broken one and goes,
Yeah. And as we close, we fade out from Monsieur Erose's through the hole. As Ruth sighs and just get the briefest glimpse downward on the sidewalk outside as we pan out from the street to notice that almost inconspicuously the shards of glass that have fallen from this broken window somehow idly, in a way that cannot possibly be explained with naturally occurring broken glass, has made the shape of the eye insignia that you have all seen so frequently before, as it just fades out past the street towards that broken street light on the other side of the street, and as it continues to flicker, and then all the way comes off. That's the end of tonight's Girl by Moonlight Fractal Spire. How do you all feel about everything that just happened?
So, Brandon, you are now required to have the symbol of the eye in different forms in every episode, like the Our Flag Means Death bit or Kipo in the Age of Wonder Beasts.
Yeah, I know. It's a thing that I've been working on. It's not going to be elegant every time, but it has to happen at least once. So yeah. Work has been bad. I'm sorry that work sucked for you all. But you now know a great deal, well, a little bit more about the inner workings of the conspiracy, including but not limited to the fact that there are probably ninjas. How does this make you all feel?
I mean, the stinger to this episode is at 2 a.m., finally having gotten up of work, Kat texts Ruth, like tipsy texting Ruth, you would not believe the day I've had. And Ruth just sending back all caps. Yeah. You weren't there for anything.
I'm really curious to see Kat following the rabbit hole with those cards when she gets to.
Yeah, those cards are going to be a doozy.
By the end of her shift, she is tipsy from all that extra champagne. She might have left those blue tacked to the inside of the toilet tank again.
Oh Lord. And Nina needs some sleep.
Imagine just being held together by duct tape and caffeine.
Yeah, I just realized actually you're in the worst narrative position as heroes, because you work in a world where like sleep is a luxury that many can ill afford, and then you have to be sleeping to do your hero stuff. So you're gonna spend a great deal of time never restful, and that is the actual point at which you are like this is the squishiest game of them all. Like, we could talk a great deal about how one's path for experience and advancement in this game is very difficult, but the fact that you have to sleep to be a hero is a very big deal all on its own.
Well, Ruth hasn't been knocked out yet, but you could also dream while being knocked out.
Just make it like Japan. Melatonin's illegal. All over life suck.
I mean, in this world, melatonin is probably like a recreational drug at this point, which is also very weird and bad. But we will have to establish all of those things at a later date, I'm sure. I am very eager to see you all take all of the information that you've already gained and the present peril that you've already encountered with you forward into the next session. But until we get to that next session, I would like you to please tell all of the lovely people in chat who you are, what you do, and where next they can find you, starting with Mike.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching. I'm Michael R. Underwood. I go by Mike, he, him pronouns for me. I'm one of the co-hosts of Speculate, along with Brandon and Greg Wilson, aka Arv, the host of the channel. And next month you can watch all three of us plus two other folks kick off a game of Court of Blades that we're very excited about. Otherwise, you can find me on Twitter at Mike R. Underwood, or you can find me streaming Wednesdays and Sundays, 1 p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/turbotango. And you should buy Valerie's books because they rock.
Yes, I agree. Next, Valerie.
Hi, I already forgot what I'm supposed to say. I'm Valerie Valdes. My pronouns are she, her. You can find me on Twitter at Valerie Valdes. That is with an S if you're listening on the podcast. And you should definitely buy Mike's books because they rock. And also, you should buy Iori's book too. It's forthcoming. Pre-order it now. All right. That's it.
No pre-order yet, unfortunately. I will tell you when it does.
But since we're gaining that information, let's move on next to Iori.
Kusano Iori, Clarion West class of 2017, they, them pronouns. I have been, as always, Cat Holly the Time Traveler. You can find me on Twitter at Iori Kusano. That is Iori. I have no L's in my name. Lori is an imposter who gets credit for my work. Let's see. Fiction forthcoming from Apex this year. And my debut novella, Hybrid Heart, will be out from Neon Hemlock sometime in 2023.
And you're all very
So
excited.
I will keep you all posted on that. Thank you, chat. You've been great today.
Lovely. And last but not least, Jeoi.
Hello, hello, and very soon goodbye. Yoi Gawain Lin, he, they pronouns for me, game and fiction writer. And tonight, as always, since this campaign has started, I have been Vermilion Jingwei Ruth, the outsider, who is exhausted.
Thank you very much. As for me, I have yet again been your stage manager this evening, Brandon O'Brien. Pronouns he, him, or they, them. I am, alongside Michael R. Underwood and Gregory A. Wilson, one of the co-hosts of Speculate, who you will see very regularly here stage managing Girl by Moonlight Fractal Spire, as well as playing in our upcoming Court of Blades game. So if you want to find out more information about that as well, please check out the Patreon again. A reminder, speculatesf.com, twitter.com/speculatesf for more information about the cool things that we do over there. I am also a poet, writer, and game designer from Trinidad and Tobago, and the author of the poetry collection Can You Sign My Tentacle, which is presently up for an Elgin Award if you are a member of the Science Fiction and Fantasy Poetry Association, and that is a thing that you would like to discover more about. So yeah, thank you so very much for joining us all this evening. This was a lot of fun. I can't wait to get into more dream shenanigans with you all. But until that happens, I would like you all to bid adieu to all of the lovely people in chat. Please say goodnight to everyone. This was a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see you all very, very soon again. But I'm going to disappear very briefly for a moment as I come over here to thank you all yet again for joining us this evening for tonight's session of Girl by Moonlight Fractal Spire. The stakes are increasingly becoming more intense, and I'm very glad that you got to witness not only some top-tier investigation, but a little bit of conflict before we get into our next score. A reminder again that there are multiple ways that you can support this channel, including checking out the VODs at !ArvTube, supporting the Patreon for this channel so we can continue to give you lots of top-tier streaming content, !ArvTreon, supporting Speculate itself, and discovering all of the cool behind-the-scenes content that we have for Fractal Spire planned at !Speculate, speculatesf.com, patreon.com/speculate. Some of that behind-the-scenes content literally includes some world-building content for one of the secondary characters that we established in the beginning of the series. So if you want to learn how a tech mogul may or may not be simultaneously very humanized and probably a great threat to everything taking place in Cloud Harbor, please check out the Patreon. That is how you ensure that we can continue to do these cool things in the first place. So we'd love it very much if you could join us over there and help us do some cool things. A reminder that you can also discover Gregory Wilson's Twitter account at !Tweets. As always, there are multiple ways that you can also support the good work that is happening in the world to make this world a better place. !BLM to discover more resources about the Black Lives Matter movement, and ways that you can not only educate yourself about those issues, but communities that you can support in the work to improve the lives of Black people in the United States and elsewhere in the world. !Help now, always important for us to continue to reiterate that you should always reach out to others when you need help and reach out to others when they need help. So if you need any resources to improve your capacity to be aware of the issues that you are dealing with and find ways that you can become more available to those that you love who are also struggling, find ways to make yourself available for them as well. Please check out those resources as well. Exclamation point help now. Exclamation point Ukraine for resources regarding the Russian invasion of Ukraine and ways that you can help those on the ground make the best of a terrible situation and perhaps beat back the terrible invasion forces in their country. Definitely check out those resources as well. Your involvement makes it possible for justice to be done in that region. A reminder that this is not the only region that is also struggling. One of these days we need to put a command for Palestine as well, because Palestine is still obviously struggling with its own extended occupation struggle at this moment. That it is also our responsibility as stewards of justice in the world to ensure that justice can be found in that space as well. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, and it is our responsibility to do what we can to improve those persons' lives as much as we can. Obviously, another reminder. I know that it might be weird for me to just suddenly proselytize in this moment, but I'm gonna bring it up. Abortion rights in the U.S. are presently under attack, and it is not the only place in the world where they're under attack, and it is obviously very important whenever we can do what is necessary to challenge those kinds of injustices and defend the liberty of marginalized people in any way that we do the work that is necessary to ensure that happens. So if there is, by any means, a capacity that you have to engage with abortion rights groups, abortion funds in your community, or in the communities of the people that you love, or in the communities of people that you do not know, in the United States and elsewhere in the world, please activate that engagement as much as possible so we can improve those people's lives. It is not the responsibility of a government to tell anyone that their body is the property of their state. And especially because we are playing Fractal Spire, a world that is very beautiful and very advanced, but also very warped and very dangerous. Those kinds of things become even more obvious to me, that we can do the work that is necessary to improve those people's lives in the real world, and that we tell these stories so people know that that is important. Sorry for just dropping that on y'all, but it's because I love and trust you all that I can trust you all with the awareness that we can be stewards of justice in the world in which we live. A reminder that more cool things happen on this channel, including a Bag of Giving game that happens tomorrow evening around this exact same time, around the same start time of tonight's game, 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. We will be playing Monster Hearts, which is my absolute, I'm very excited to be able to be doing the thing. Monster Hearts is a very favorite game of mine. This is the second time that I'm playing it. I love everything that Avery Alda has ever made. Consider myself particularly honored to have met Avery personally and, have her brilliant tutelage help me make games in the first place. So that's going to be a lot of fun. A reminder that that game will be including not only myself, but Dave Ring, Delilah S. Dawson, and our GM, Kat Rambo. And that's going to be 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time over here on twitch.tv/ArvanElron. If I'm not mistaken, that's the only thing that we have planned on that day. Let me check the calendar just to make sure. So that's going to be a lot of fun, and a reminder, exclamation point Bag of Giving for more information about not only the game that we're playing and the giveaways that we will have planned for that game, but the charities that we will be supporting through that game, which will be including Max Ottawa and Trans Texas, which you can definitely support by giving just as little as $5 Canadian for an opportunity to win some very cool stuff. And I can't wait for you all to check out that game and the cool stuff that we have planned for giveaways on that day. On Tuesday, Adventures in Middle-earth, Erebor Adventures, and nominations for the Patreon Fueled Chat Chosen Game of the Month that Greg will be getting into starting from noon Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday, and then at 4:15 Eastern Standard Time. Pen and Pixels Talisman Adventures over at GogCom, and then nothing on Wednesday and Thursday, but more shenanigans will be afoot starting from Friday afterwards. But again, thank you for joining us tonight. I hope that you've had a lovely stream watching us get into these shenanigans this evening. And I hope that you have a wonderful night tonight, a wonderful week as we enter into the rest of this week. And last but not least, sweet dreams, everyone. We'll see you all very, very soon. Bye. So here are all of my encouragements for you all to make terrible decisions, as I am the GM.
Ash has a crossbow bolt in her side, 0 dots in skirmish, and 0 dots in wreck. And I'm so excited to see this get even worse. So that's one vote for escalation.
Skelly has 3 guns and all the ammo.
Crossroads has no guns, but Crossroads is a gun powered by ghosts.
Have we established that your guns are special to you? I feel like we're establishing that your guns are special to you.
Before this crew, they were my only friends.
You've known us for 5 days. You've known those guns a lot longer.
These are my babies.
Yeah.
I just want to say, Rowan was starting to do this, and then he realizes to harvest. This doesn't help. Like, don't do that.
This is not.
No.
This is
Like,
not
don't do
the
this.
thing.
Yeah.
Doing this to an executioner?
Yeah, that's not
I
what
was
you
just
want.
like this, like.
We call that the go sign, you know? Like, yeah.
Oh man.
This seems great. I will do a fortune roll. Notes. No thoughts. Head empty. 1!